Hello, everyone. My name is Aimee Pratt. I'm here with Caleb Cline from American National. I'm a mortgage broker. And as a mortgage broker, I just want to make sure that all my clients are taken care of. And one topic that I wanted to talk with Caleb about today is fire insurance. He's an insurance specialist, and he is going to educate us about everything we need to know about not just having a complete coverage for your home, but also to make sure that you understand how to read your policy. So Caleb, let's get started.
Aimee, thank you for having me, and I appreciate the invitation. I first want to talk about, obviously, the, not to be a pun intended here, but hot topic of California. It seems like every summer that place just loves to burn. And I was actually just out in Huntington Beach, and they had to shut the freeway down coming back to Las Vegas because there was a big fire. So I'm glad that you brought this up. The first couple of things that I want people to understand, especially the Californians, is you may be having issues where your rates are drastically increasing or completely dropping altogether from insurance companies. And that's because they do a process what's called fire mapping. Now, this is basically a statistical analysis of, according to past fires and things of that nature, it looks like in these specific areas, homes are more likely to burn, and they kind of come up with a number or a risk score, if you will, for that brush fire. The reason why they're doing either one of two things, dropping or increasing the rates, is because they've either had issues where folks that they have insured are losing their homes. And obviously that's just a part of the process of you're sharing the burden. That's just kind of how insurance works. I know personally for me, and I would assume most of your clients as well, my mortgage payment is the most expensive payment, but also most important payment that I pay every month. And yes. So for me, I would be a little bit terrified, to be honest, if I didn't have insurance on my home. And so I want to let people know, one, if I couldn't find a solution for you personally with my company, I would do everything in my power to solve that problem, because at the end of the day, I like to be a problem solver. And I didn't get into this business to just line my pockets. I want to actually help people just like I did in the Army. So the last thing I want to say is, at the end of the day, it's extremely frustrating and irritating when either rates increase and or coverages get dropped. If we think about it in terms of what I used to do in the Army was, mission planning, everything sounds great until the first home, gets torched and it was not in the fire mapping area. And so at the end of the day, the plan's only going to survive first contact, or as Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. It just kind of is what it is. And I'm not the person to be able to change that, but I can help provide solutions. And Aimee, you had also brought up that you were concerned about obviously rising prices in lumber and potentially having issues where people don't have enough coverage in their home pending that worst case scenario. And so I'd like to go over one of my current client policies and show you what it looks like to have not just proper coverage, but also an extended replacement. And so we actually do that free of charge. And I also have a little earthquake coverage that I want to discuss as well. So this specific home happens to be in San Diego, not generally an area that has as much problems with the fire, thankfully, at least for the current moment. But for reference, so this $1 million home, or almost $1 million home here in my coverage A, which is dwelling, that's going to be my rebuild cost. Now, I mentioned that the extended replacement, and as lumber continues to increase because COVID, et cetera, now we don't have the ability to get things across borders. Obviously, the world has become rather interesting, to say the least. All of my policies come with a 25% extended replacement. So $1 million policies got $250,000 in extended replacement. And that's going to account for any sort of rise in, whether that's labor, lumber, whatever the case may be, prices rise. And I don't expect that they're necessarily going to go down anytime soon. The other major thing that I want to hit on is all of my policies come with 3 additional things, and that's free of charge. So service line coverage, that's covering sewer, water, electrical, and gas lines. that the city has laid that once it goes onto your property, it's then conveniently your problem. I'm not saying that the city always does things incorrectly, but in the off chance that something happens, would you rather drop that 10 grand out of your own pocket, or would you rather have it built into the policy, again, free of charge?
Absolutely.
Being a native Las Vegas resident, and my family was born and raised in California, seems like AC units and water heaters tend to go out, I don't know about you, but the most convenient, sarcasm, especially here at times. So
Yes.
when they're the most taxed, or when it happens to be a large storm system that comes through, unfortunately, it seems like things fail. Again, that's built into the policy here in home system breakdown. So we have anything that's connected to the electronics, whether that be the AC units, water heaters, appliances, etc. And then last thing is, all my policies come with identity theft coverage. And that's because a lot of people are unaware that insurance rates are tied in some way to your credit. And so if you have your identity stolen, and now maybe a bunch of money spent on a credit card or things that are just done fraudulently, I don't want your rates to increase of something that wasn't your fault.
Oh, that's amazing.
The last thing that I want to touch on here is our mini earthquake coverage. And so what I love about American National, and these are things that I'm finding out well after becoming an agent and being in this industry for October will be my second year. Certain things they do are purposely better, and there's a reason why they do them. So not only have I found that people will say, man, why is your earthquake coverage so cheap on your policy? Well, one, it's connected to the policy, and that does a couple of things for you. We are part of the California Guaranty Association. Basically, what that means is a lot of companies, if you were to buy something after the fact with a surplus carrier, they are not covering, for example, if there's a large loss in a city or the entire state that comes and just basically destroys a ton of homes, they're going to come back and say, well, you probably missed the fine print here, but we're not going to cover that because basically we don't have the money to do that. However, because we're part of the California Guarantee Association, not only will we cover that, we will cover anything in regards to the earthquake, because again, we have it built within the policy. This isn't a surplus carrier that you're buying something kind of aftermarket, if you will, after the fact. And so for me, that's one of the most important things. I want clients to understand we're able to actually properly do this the first time in a lot of ways that they probably hadn't even thought of could be issues. Because when your life doesn't go according to your plan, I want you to remember to call me, because I've already solved the problem for you, and let's go about fixing it.
That's incredible, Caleb. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and helping me to educate everyone about, how to be properly insured and to make the right decision about where to go for that coverage. And it's so amazing that you are so accessible, and that, God forbid something happens, that they can just reach out to you and feel confident that their home, their most expensive investment, is indeed covered properly.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you for watching. And if you want to reach out to Caleb, you can find his contact information below somewhere.
Perfect. Thank you very much.